If you do not love Jeremy Clarkson, you have no soul, probably.
For Jeremy Clarkson's whole career, he's been known as a petrolhead with controversial opinions on environmentalists.
Only a weak loser would ever say that Jeremy Clarkson even has a single controversial opinion on anything.
So a lot of people were left surprised when he decided to step into the complex world of farming in 2019. However,
what's there to be surprised? Every day, honestly, for the last year, I'm slowly thinking, should I buy a bunch of woodworking equipment and just, start spending my time wisely and, making chairs and tables and whatnot for myself? Seriously.
Clarkson's roots to farming date back a decade before the origins of Diddley Squat. In 2008, during the peak of Top Gear, Jeremy bought 1,000 acres of land and farm called Curdle Hill Farm in Oxfordshire, England, near Chipping Norton in the Cotswolds. The land came up for sale during the 2008 financial crash and was going for a lot cheaper than usual. When I say cheaper, I mean
smart.
4.25 million, but still pretty cheap.
No, I mean, the truth of the matter was that land almost never comes up for sale around here. And 2008 was the big financial crash. And this came up for sale. And I just thought, nobody's making more land. So many people are moving out from London, but it was a lot less then. So I just thought, may as well get it.
Another reason why Clarkson bought the farm is mainly down to money and taxes. You see, you don't have to pay death duties on land. Speaking to the Times, he said, rather than just have money in the bank and get a statement with numbers written on it that gives no one any pleasure at all, you could derive a great deal of pleasure and pass it on to your children. Land is a better investment than any bank can offer. The government...
True. Again, human numbers go up, land numbers go down, and not the price ones. Any land that you can own, probably after 20 years, is going to be worth 10 times more than it currently is. Minimum 10 times more, I should probably say. Especially with all the BlackRocks acquiring land, Bill Gates literally buying out farmland so he can starve the world and whatnot. It's going to be great.
Doesn't get any money.
And the alternative is, what if it doesn't actually go 10 times up? Well, that just means that you own nothing and you're gonna be happy is the reality that we live in. In which case, well, it doesn't really matter that you bought land that never had value, because you technically didn't actually change anything in your life anyway, so there you go.
When I die, and the price of food that I grow can only go up. But there is another, much more important reason I can now have a quad bike. The fields were mostly growing a rotation of barley, rapeseed and wheat, farmed on a contract basis by local Chipping Norton villager Howard Pauling, until his retirement in 2019. Howard's retirement along...
this is, by the way, what people do. They just rent out land to farmers. Farmers don't actually own a lot of land that they cultivate. They just rent it out because, well, it's decent. It's not bad.
With the coinciding pandemic, prompted Clarkson to challenge himself and farm the land himself. However, before Clarkson entered the world of farming, he wanted to renovate the 312-acre farmhouse.
Dude, look at this. This is like an old-time mansion, dude. I was gonna say here, but yeah, this is old-time mansion style. This is kind of wild.
Clarkson entered the world of the 312-acre farmhouse estate to prepare it for the insertion of the Clarkson family. In 2016, he got his plans validated by the council, and in Jeremy fashion, he blew the original Curdle farmhouse the fuck up, as can be seen from the Grand Tour episode. However, it didn't go down too well with the local residents, beginning an agenda against Clarkson from day one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna doubt that even for a bit.
The new property was renamed Diddley Squat to indicate its lack of productivity. The actual new farmhouse includes a basement cinema, an attic's game room, an orangey, which I just discovered is a room that basically protects your plants in winter, a room for 5 cars, a
orangey, that's the most dumb British name ever. Isn't the normal term just greenhouse in this case? Or since it's connected to the main building, it has a different one. Huh.
Once in winter, a room for 5 cars, a special garage for his quad bikes, a yard for his horses, 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. The surrounding barns and gardens were also given a glamorous...
Okay, I mean, Okay, it makes sense why he blew up the house. Yeah, okay. This probably costed in the tens of millions to actually build.
Makeover, complete with
Oof, man.
a vegetable patch, potting shed, and a plant room. In the farm's first year, they managed to produce good quality wheat and raise a flock of sheep. However, due to the weather, the farm's crops brought in £90,000 less than the previous year, leaving them with only a profit of £144. Despite a lackluster return
That is kind of classic, though.
on the farm during a difficult period, when the show released the following year, Clarkson's Farm became the most watched Prime Video original series in the UK. The show received
Dude, Clarkson's farm is popping off everywhere. Everyone's talking about it good because it's a man who's not afraid to speak out his opinions on stuff, who's sophisticated, and he's doing farm stuff. Who doesn't love that? It's amazing. And if you're telling me, no, that's not amazing, you're a pussy. You definitely are. Like, the leaning heavily Democrat, I feel like. Go be mad about some kind of gender shit somewhere, my dude.
great reviews, and was applauded for acknowledging that this wasn't a view of a regular farm, as most farmers can't bankroll their dramatic losses with an almost infinite pool of TV money. But because of this, it allowed viewers to fully understand the severity of pressures farmers are under.
Somebody described what's happening to farming in this country as ethnic cleansing. That's a strong thing to say, but
It's
sort
pretty
of is happening.
accurate.
The government is trying really to drive farmers off their land. People want the countryside to look like it does, and it's farmers who made it look like that. And I think, I wonder what the countryside would look like if there was no farming here. In 5 years, the subsidies, the grants are stopping. So farms have to think of new ways of making money. They have to.
You're looking at the decimation of British farming.
Yes, most of the farms like me.
All around Europe, this is happening. The Danish farmers are getting completely destroyed by the government. Like, the governments are trying to tell you there's gonna be a food shortage. Yeah, no shit, you're literally making it by putting farmers out of business. The people who grow your food, yeah, you're putting them out of business, and then you're saying, oh my god, everyone, there's gonna be a food shortage. Yeah, you're causing it.
We are 66 years old. We're throwing in the towel. Let's just take the government money. It won't be our problem if people starve. Maybe be our problem. It might be public disorder. At the moment, we are stopping producing wheat, which makes bread, which everybody in this country eats. We've been paid to grow wildflowers. We need to have food produced and made in the UK. But people say, well, we can import from abroad. The same madness is happening.
Yep, exactly. You can't import anything from abroad because it's happening everywhere. All farmers bad.
In Europe, they're asking farmers to plant wildflowers instead of food. Okay, we could bring food in from Brazil. Do you know how they do that? Cut down the rainforest. Where we're standing now was once a field. Heathrow was once a field, but we, the farmers, are blamed for the environment. So let me have a little competition.
Yeah.
I will stay in my garage all night for 2 cows. Let's put a politician in a garage with his diesel car burning all night, and we discuss who's killing the environment in the morning.
In Season 2, one of the main storylines of the show documented the outspoken Clarkson pointing out how farmers have been betrayed by Brexit, with their loss of EU subsidiaries replaced by meaningless slogans. You see, UK farmers currently receive no payments under the EU's Common Agricultural Policy. In fact, during a meeting with Jeremy, local pig farmers near Diddley Squat even said that their entire pig farm was put under threat overnight as a result, and don't even take a wage, highlighting just how bad it had gotten for farmers. In addition to the £66,000 losses in subsidiaries for Diddley Squat, a combination of poor weather conditions and the fallout from COVID made it a difficult year once again, which forced Jeremy to try and diversify the farm. He did this by getting cattle, which would in turn create meat and produce for the farm shop and a newly constructed restaurant built from the remains of a derelict barn. However, once again, his efforts would be halted in their tracks.
It's not. I think a lot of people are probably thinking, wait, what's so hard to diversify? It's a farm. Yeah, that's why it's actually hard to diversify in most cases. Because if everything you grow on a farm requires different kind of, chemicals, this, that, water, equipment, and so on. You can literally grow one field of one type of wheat and the other of a slightly different kind of wheat. And it can be even the same species of wheat or whatever you want to call it. And the requirements to growing each of these two wheats are going to be completely different. It is not that easy to just magically diversify. Now, there are opportunities and there are things that kind of interact with each other, but it's not that easy.
Tracks. You see, another major storyline was documenting Jeremy's fight against the bureaucratic bullshit from the local council. Trying to build this restaurant and a country track on his own land to diversify the farm's income proved a lot more difficult than one would think. At every angle of planning permission, Jeremy would be denied. Basically, the old age pensioners in office at the local council said that their argument was basically because they didn't want to ruin an area of outstanding beauty, which is fair enough. However, Jeremy pointed out that the field the car park was going to be on was already a mud pit, and that the new restaurant would create jobs in the local community, use and sell produce from surrounding farms where they wouldn't usually have an outlet to sell otherwise. Basically, there was no downside to any of the proposals Diddley Squat put forward. The main problem was because of the success of the show. It became a victim of its own success. The farm shop had basically become an international tourist attraction, leaving loads of people queuing in their cars and annoying the old farts that live nearby, which led them to have an agenda against Clarkson. In fact, one villager described the
Makes sense.
farm as a total menace and a danger. It got so bad that Clarkson was considering going to the lengthy and expensive costs of taking this to court. However, Jeremy discovered that renovating a derelict barn could be built without prior planning permission. However, the plan's success hinged on the council not objecting to anything about the site, meaning that nearly all the work had to be completed in just 48 hours in order to prevent a formal complaint from being lodged. Although successful and a hit with the local community, within a few months the council would force the restaurant to close. After the season's release, the audience resonated with the events arguably more than the previous season.
Man, the British are just great at ruining everything. They don't even need a government. Well, technically the council is a part of the government, I guess. I think. Pretty sure they should be, right? I'm not British, thank God. I would just instantaneously whoop myself. Man, imagine that. I'd better be bored in Afghanistan.
One online commenter stated, "The main thing that Clarkson has done, whether he meant it or not, is highlight the incredible difficult life that our farmers live and work.
Now, to be honest, the council problems in Britain are all over the place. Councils are just filled with people who effectively do nothing and they just deny stuff because they're on a power trip. Councils are complete trash. They don't help people. They don't do anything productive. They're pretty much just, I got in the council. Now my self-interests can be fulfilled. That's what councils are.
Heartfelt thanks goes out to all the farmers, farmhands, and anyone who helps them produce our food and maintain the beauty that is our countryside." Another commenter stated, "Whether he was serious about farming or not, Clarkson has done more for the farming community to bring attention to their case with just 2 seasons than any farming organisation has done in decades. It's not just the general public who have gravitated towards Clarkson's farm. Farmers across the world have praised the show for highlighting the struggles they have to go through."
I think this is the programme that farming needed. It really is. Because what you've got the serious programmes about farming like Country File or, some of those other documentary type farming programmes that people with a certain interest will watch, but a lot of people won't because it's not their thing. Whereas the thing about this is that this is drawn in a lot of the public, from what I'm seeing on the internet and stuff, it's drawn a lot of the public that wouldn't normally watch farming programmes. And the way he's done it, with the comedy element involved, if you like, the bit of humour, it's pulled people in to watch it that wouldn't normally watch farming programmes. And they've gone, oh yeah, I didn't realise they did it like that, because there's so much interesting information in amongst the kind of like humour, if you like, and so we're getting across to the public. I say we, Jeremy Clarkson is getting the farmers' message across the public of what we do deal with, and I've yet to meet a farmer who doesn't like this programme.
Raising awareness for farmers, the show also raised the profile of young farmer Caleb Cooper significantly, with him basically becoming a celebrity and a voice for young farmers. Managing to speak to the Prime Minister about issues, released 3 books,
Yeah, I'm sure speaking to this guy is gonna solve your problems.
and do a UK
Oh,
tour
boy.
since Clarkson's Farm's been on the air. On the 3rd of May 2024, the 3rd season of Clarkson's Farm dropped on Amazon, with this season detailing Jeremy once again dealing with the loss of subsidiaries, forcing to diversify by becoming a pig and mushroom farmer, dealing with the terrible droughts, and of course the bureaucratic bullshit from the local council. The council once again wreaked havoc on the farm, demanding that Jeremy's restaurant be shut down.
By the way, people are probably wondering, why don't you just do sky farming? You know, sky farming is the one where you don't need soil exactly. You know, you just stack everything like this and you do some, kind of BS. Well, that stuff is expensive. When it first came out, I remember everyone was psyched about sky farming and whatnot. Is it called sky farming? I'm pretty sure it's called sky farming. Or was it called vertical farming? One of the other. You're probably gonna find it if you Google any of them anyway. And the funny part was, oh, this is the future. We can farm so much with so little space. And now that's all up in flames because it's really expensive to actually maintain these farms. It is impossible to actually maintain the cost versus how much you need to sell it in the store, because the prices for all of vertical farming are incredibly high. And there's no real way to sell vertical farming as this amazing thing because they still use the same shit that everyone else honestly uses. So it's just more expensive for no reason, and it's visibly, very blatantly, visibly more expensive.
And various facilities and products at the farm shop to be removed. In fact, the council deemed it wasn't even a farm shop, but an entertainment and leisure facility. However, months later, Diddley Squat would finally win their appeal, meaning that they could keep the cafe, toilets facility, car park, and burger van. However, diversifying your farm's income is never simple, as Jeremy's lager company quickly discovered. After launching a brand new cider and selling thousands of bottles, the bottles began exploding. Basically, the fermentation process was still happening after the cider was bottled, and led to hundreds of people taking to social media to complain.
Yeah, that's called pressure. That's very interesting. How did they not know this? This is a common thing that almost everyone who, makes bubbly drinks knows that is a problem that you probably should try to avoid. And seriously check. Interesting.
Required Jeremy to send out a public service announcement immediately, telling customers to disarm the bottles underwater. But with exploding bottles, severe droughts and diversifying the farm, they made a profit of £72,500 for the harvest. However, every single penny had to be reinvested back into the rising costs in chemicals and seed for the next year. So if you're a farmer who doesn't host Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it becomes increasingly more difficult. In 2023, Clarkson said that most of his crops either failed tests or failed altogether. He stated, "This year though, it was noticeably bad. Very bad. And what made it worse is that I normally invest about £40,000 in seed, fertilizer and sprays. But last year, thanks to the war in Ukraine and the inflation that resulted, I had to invest
Oh man, yeah, that actually the price of fertilizer gone up so drastically.
£110,000
Don't know about sprays and seeds, but fertilizer, yeah, that shit just...
£1,000. And then having done that, all I could do was hope that the weather would be good, which it wasn't. In my first year of farming, I made a profit of £114. That will look like a dream result when I get the figures for this year. Jeremy even considered selling the farm as a result of the difficulties that go into running a farm operation. I've tried farming conventionally, it didn't work. I've tried diversifying, and that hasn't really worked either. And I've tried with sheep and pigs and cows, and that has been a bit of a disaster as well.
Well, to be honest, it's not that easy to succeed, that's one. But two, most farmers actually kind of try and learn from their mistakes. But Jeremy, well, he has a show and whatnot. He can't just, sit and try to make pigs work for 4 years in a row.
So I've arrived at a crossroads and was not sure which way to turn. I could sell the farm and earn far more from interest than I do from growing bread and beer and vegetable oil, but I like having it, and for very good reasons. There are no death duties on farmland, so my children like me having it too. This means I have to hang on to it. But what then? Do nothing? That would be heartbreaking, so I have to do something. But what? The men
Keep going, that's what. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Very good video, Pat Memer. Memer, lol. Close enough. Anyway, this was Curdle. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and all that, and have a nice day. Bye bye.